Hey, welcome to the channel. My name is Naya. If you're new here, welcome. I think I already said that. I am a designer and business owner of Greenhouse Studios, a design studio where we focus on branding and just general graphic design. It's been open about 2 years now, and I've been doing it full time for about 8 months now. So I just want to tell you my story of how I got to this point, all the things, my early life, my early career, my education, all that stuff. Let's get into it. Pretty much my whole life, I've always been like the creative type of person. Like I've always been the drawer, somebody making something. Somebody asked me like, "Oh, can you draw me? Can you draw me this? Can you draw me?" Like I've always been that person. And then at the same time, I've always known that like you know how people ask you like, "Oh, what do you want to be when you grow up, little one?" And I'm like, a doctor, I guess. But I'm like, I'm saying that, but I've always known that I wanted to be my own boss. I always known that I wanted to have a career or make a life around art and creativity and things like that. So what really kicked it up for me was when I was around the 10th grade, 15, 16 years old. And I remember this was around the time I got into photography and I first learned about design in the first place. I had a teacher who I consider to be one of my first mentors and probably one of the most pivotal people in my life. Because I was just going through a lot of things at that time and just taking his class and the after school programs, his mentorship with photography, with design and different things like that. It really helped me and really helped put some things in perspective for me. And so what the multimedia class was we were learning all the basics about Photoshop, Illustrator, how to work the different tools and different things. I just remember learning, like sitting down and learning about the programs. Like I didn't know anything, but I'm like, wow, this is really cool. Like you can take this blank canvas, turn it into these crazy cool things. And like we were just like learning pen tools and shape building tools and different things like that, recreating different characters and everything. And I was like, I really fell in love with it. Like a lot of my classmates did not like it at all. They thought it was really hard. And don't get me wrong, it was hard at first, but I enjoyed it. One of the big projects that we had that year was we had to use, I think it was just the pen tool to recreate a poster of one of our favorite movies. Mine was and is still Kill Bill Volume 1 to this day. I basically had to recreate that poster, and if you've been on this channel, or you can even go back and see some of my older videos, you might see it in the background, or you might see me mention it. That was a piece of work that I did that I was just so like it wasn't anything like spectacular and just like, oh, like this is amazing work, but it was just like one of those things where like to be able to see something that you've been working on for so long and then be able to have it printed out, because he had a printer in his classroom that we were able to just print out if we wanted to take it home. Of course I want to take mine home, and I just to see that in real life and just be like, wow, and I can hold it and I can analyze it and be like, wow, I fell in love immediately. And from that year on, yeah, I always knew that I wanted to be a graphic designer. I wanted to be doing something in the creative space, in the print space, and digital, all those type of things. Like I knew off the rip. Like if anybody asked me, where are you going to school? Where are you going to school? What are you going to school for? Graphic design, graphic design, graphic design. And then, like I said, if you see my old videos, I was thinking of going to Micah. I was thinking of going to Ringling, a bunch of different design schools. What had ended up happening was I wasn't really getting the funding, and I didn't necessarily have like the best grades to get into like scholarships or anything like that. Like yeah, I was applying, but it just wasn't working out. And it was just kind of discouraging because it was like, do I go to school and put myself in all this debt, or do I just not go to school, or do I just go somewhere local, go to community college? So I ended up actually just deciding to go to my local community college. I don't regret it at all. It taught me to learn how to build my self-worth and how to deal with rejection, how to have a balance and just a focus, because I'm not gonna lie, first year of my college experience, I was kind of bullshit and I wasn't really doing what I was supposed to do, and I was working a full-time job it was supposed to be part-time, but it was basically full-time. I was working like 16-hour days. It was just a lot going on at that time, and I wasn't in the best mental space. I'm much better now, much better now. But yeah, I learned so much. I met so many people, so many different teachers and people that actually cared. I can remember like two teachers that were really pivotal for me in my last year of college. That's when I really started to just take myself seriously and get on my stuff, stop BSing, stop wasting time, stop wasting other people's time too. I had my public speaking teacher. She was really somebody that really taught me the basics of like self-worth and presentation and how you want to show up in the world just through your speech. But taking her class, it really changed my whole mindset and just how I want to show up in the world and even doing stuff like this, right? I will forever be grateful to her for that. And then I had my illustrator teacher. He was kind of pivotal for me in a way where like he was doing exactly what I want to do in my life. I've never met somebody before that was like, oh, like I run my studio and I'm a teacher and like I do all these creative, cool things and I get paid really well to do them and it's possible. And he was the first person that I ever met in the creative space to look to and be like, wow, like it's possible. Like it doesn't. I don't have to do it exactly the way that I wanted him. I want to do it, or that he's doing it. I'm sorry, but it's possible, right? Like every time he mentioned a book or a resource or a habit or a skill that you should implement, I was going by. I was researching it. I was looking it up. I was reading it. I was trying it out. I was doing all these different things, and that kind of helped. It took a while. It took a while for sure. It wasn't like I just like came this like, oh, I'm on my shit. I say all to say it really helped me see the possibilities and kind of shape me into an idea of what I want to do. I ended up getting a job at a print shop where I was the sole designer, and it was really exciting. It was really cool. I'm not gonna say anything negative at all. I don't have anything. I don't wish them anything. It was just a weird experience to be fresh out of school and just be in that role for the first time, and you're the only creative in the whole building. Like there's only like five of us and I was the only one. It was just like a kind of weird dynamic that probably couldn't be contributed to communication issues. It was a really cool job for what it was. That was also a job where I was like, while I was getting experience, I was also taking notes and writing down everything. When I tell you I was writing down everything, like I was writing down how they would communicate to their customers, how they would communicate internally as a team, things that I liked that I did and didn't like that I would want to implement in my own team. Because I went in there knowing that I'm like, I want to have my own studio one day. I want to have my own business one day. I was taking so many notes on just their operations, their processes, how they handle things. And I was like trying to compare notes and like, okay, how can I apply this to greenhouse? How can what makes sense, you know? But I don't recommend this, but I ain't gonna lie, I was in there working on my business, doing client work and doing admin work on the side because I did have clients at that time. And actually, I didn't even mention the stuff that I was doing in college. Like I was doing rugs around that time when I was in school. I was doing design work here and there where people would come to me for branding, people come to me for logos, people come to me for t-shirt designs, flyers. I was still getting that while I was working, but I was just like, I find more fulfillment in the work that I'm doing outside of what my print shop is providing. And yeah, it was secure, it was safe. I just really had the mindset of like, if I could really put my 100% focus on just growing greenhouse, who knows what I could be? I know what I wanted. What if I can implement this into my own practice, right? The job, it just ended up, I just realized that it wasn't for me particularly. I was there for about like 8 to 9 months. And I learned a lot during that time. Like I was taking notes pretty much every day, just observing. I quickly realized that they were kind of funny about money and raises, and it was just a weird work environment. And I was just like, I'd rather just not waste either one of our time. So not even push me, that catapulted me into just being like, just start your own thing. Like it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to be this perfect person. You don't have it all figured out. Just start something now. And I could do that because, like I said, I went into this. From day one, from first paycheck, I was putting money aside, money that I could live off of if I want to take a few months off, money that I could put into the business if I need something. I was saving like crazy, and I had more than enough money to just be like, you know what? Let me try something real quick. Let me just see. If anything, this whole experience has taught me is that just just get rid of the idea that everything that you have to have the perfect settings, the perfect scenario, the perfect setup, the perfect skills, the perfect whatever. I say all that to say I've been doing this for 8 months now. I learned a lot. I've had months where I made $0. I had months and days where I'm like, why am I even doing this? Like, what is wrong with you? Are you crazy? Are you stupid? Go back, get a job, da da da, right? I'll have that and then I'll think about it. I'm like, but I just don't want that. Like, I don't. So it's like, what am I gonna do about it? Literally. Just embrace the role of being a student, being forever curious about any and everything, whatever you have questions about, whatever you want to know more about, whatever you want to experience more in life. And that's kind of what I just really want this channel to symbolize in the first place. Like, I'll forever be a student, I'll forever be curious, and I'll forever be about just learning and on the same hand teaching what I've learned as well. I love sharing knowledge. I love keeping that circulating and keeping that creativity and that wealth just flowing out into the world, because it's not meant to be hoarded. Like, when we hold on to something so tightly, we end up not using it at all, or it just goes away from us. So I'm all about circulating. I'm all about giving back in the world. So this channel is my little way of doing that. Yeah, if you're still here, you're still listening to me in any part of my story at all. I know I didn't go in as depth as I could have, but this is just for the sake of video and time and purposes. But if any part of my story or anything about me has spoken to you in any shape, form, or fashion, I would encourage you to stick around. I would encourage you to join the community. Like I said, I'm all about the art. I'm all about personal development. I'm all about design. I'm all about learning, teaching, having fun with the process, being myself. All that's me, right? So if any of that speaks to you, if any of those ideals surround you and you want to be in a community like that, stick around. I can't wait to see you in the next video. So I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna get to work because I actually kind of got a late start to my day. I'll see you later.